Refugees are the most hopeful people I've ever met. Without it, they wouldn't be able to get here. I think that, you know, faith is the cornerstone, and I don't think I'd be able to do this work without believing that this was what I was meant to do.
Over the decades, religious groups like Catholic Charities have been at the forefront of helping the U.S. government resettle refugees. But this faith-based work is now in peril.
I want to be like the people we serve and hold out hope that we'll be able to do something for them.
Fredericksburg, Virginia, and surrounding counties have strong ties to the military and resettled Afghans, but the Trump administration's suspension of the federal refugee program has created some unease for many Afghans who supported the U.S. in wartime and have immigrated to the United States. They and other legal migrants have been left in limbo. This is the case for a recent Afghan refugee and her family. They fled to Pakistan, then Qatar, and finally she and her husband arrived in the U.S. in September 2024. However, her parents are still stuck in Pakistan.
ما بعد از اینکه ترامپ می سر قدرت آمد و بعض تغییرات آمد امیدم بسیار به 0% آمده که من وقتی پدرم میبینم که درد میبینه ولی نمیتونه پیش دکتر بره. مادر من مشکل داره نمیتونه پیش دکتر بره از ترس از اینکه درا پلیس اونا را نگیره اونا را دوباره دیپورت نکنه به افغانستان.
I think it's tough for military families, especially those who have served, to look back on 20 years and not feel as though there's some confusion and maybe even some anger about the situation. It's a shame. I'll just keep praying.
Pillar Church, a network of 16 Southern Baptist churches that minister to members of the military, is among the local congregations who felt called to aid Afghan refugees. Their flagship location is near Quantico, the Marine base in Northern Virginia where 5,000 Afghans were evacuated to after the fall of Kabul.
It was affecting so many of the lives of our families here who had served in Afghanistan. It wasn't something that was outside of our circle of experience, and so it mattered to people. You know, people were coming here, and you know, Quantico became a big part of sort of the welcoming of Afghans into the country and preparing to do that.
With the Southern Baptist Relief Funds contracted under the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, Pillar Church hired Joy Rogers, whose husband is a former Marine, to work part-time as a volunteer coordinator in the base's makeshift refugee camp in 2021.
As a church, we care deeply. As Christians, we care deeply. As military, we also just, we have an obligation to them. As people that committed to, helping the U.S. in our mission over there and working right alongside many of the people that are in our church. And then, to see them have to evacuate so crazily and this, the whole situation it just broke your heart.
Back at Catholic Charities in Fredericksburg, a group of recent Afghan refugee women are gathered for a self-care class, one of the many programs the religious organization offers to their clients. Soraya Kadari is one of the last clients to arrive at the resettlement agency before the U.S. government suspended new arrivals. She arrived on the same day the administration sent stop work orders to the agencies.
اونجا کلی وضعیتش خراب بود و ما که چون 4 سال و 7 ماه بسیار به سختی تیر شده بود طبعا که اما قسم بود بعضی کسایی که پیدو داشتن خب تمام لحظه ایشان لغو شده بود پروازشان و ما از جمله خوشبخت‌ترین آدما بودم.
Today, Renfroe's Catholic faith guides her work and is sustaining her through the uncertainty of what the funding and policy changes will mean for her organization.
I'm happy to go back to being a volunteer again if that's what it takes in order to make sure that all these families know that those of us who've been doing this work, that regardless of a contract, that we're still here, that we care about them and that we want to make sure that they have what they need.